Hey there, Mick Hawes, Builder's Business Black Belt, day 7 of the 90-day challenge. So this video, 1 week down. In a previous video, I talked about, rather than looking for solutions, fixing the mistakes, the errors that consistently get made that cause the problems that we're looking for a solution for. So rather than looking for a solution and not fixing the problems or the errors that are causing the problem you're trying to address. And if you think about it, if you find a solution, but there are still problems or errors being made that are causing the problem that you're searching for a solution to fix, it doesn't make sense in my brain. It just makes more sense to get into prevention rather than the cure. It's a little bit like the boat's leaking, so we're bailing like crazy. So we look at a solution, which is a bigger bucket or a bilge pump or something like that, and we never ever look at where the plank has sprung in the boat or there's a crack in the hull or whatever, letting the water in. I always remember a metaphor story told by Tony Robbins. I don't know whether it was live or on one of his recordings, but he was talking about doctors being great people and always wanting to save people. And there was a doctor by the side of the river, and he hears somebody yell for help. So he dives in the river and saves the person and brings them back out of the side of the river and resuscitates them. And just as they come back to life, he hears 2 screams. So he jumps in the river and he saves the 2 people, and he just drags them up onto the side of the river and just resuscitates them. And just as they come to life, he hears 4 more screams and jumps in the river to save them. And this goes on. And the moral is, he is that busy saving lives and dragging people out of the river. He just doesn't seem to have the time to be able to go upriver and see who's throwing these people in the river in the first place. And that's what I'm talking about. And so there are a bunch of behaviors, if you like, that I believe guarantee failure. And there's a heap of them, and maybe we can go through a couple of them in this video. But let's say from a financial perspective, I'm a big supporter and believer of Mike McCallowitz's Profit First. It's something that we teach a lot in Black Belt, and particularly in our Blueprint program. And Profit First has a very specific philosophy. The first thing is it teaches you what profit is, and profit isn't just an entry on a profit and loss sheet. It's actually cash that exists, that is not required for anything else. It's not required to pay bills. It doesn't get ploughed back into the business. It is taken out of the business and it is given to the owner as compensation for their risk, reward, and sacrifice. And one of the behaviors, or one of the, I don't know, we can call it a technique or structure or frameworks that Mike talks about, is that we create separate bank accounts. And how most businesses run, they might have a few, but generally most small businesses will have one bank account. All the money goes in and all the bills get paid out of that. In Profit First, there's a number of bank accounts. There's one that gathers all of the money, so that's your income account. And then there's another one that holds all the money that is to pay for the suppliers, so materials, and then subcontractors. That's all in another bank account, so that's 2. Then there is a profit account where you actually take a certain percentage of the real revenue, and I'm not going to get into all of the terminology in detail, but the real revenue, there's a percentage of that goes into a profit account. And then there's another account that holds all of the money that has to go to pay for super and PAYG and GST and basically the BAS stuff plus super and what have you. And then there's an owner's pay bank account, and that's the bank account that the owner gets paid out of. And then the final bank account is the original bank account that used to have everything going in and coming out, but it's now just the expenses account. And the process works because all the money comes in the income account, and then money gets taken out of it and put in the profit and the tax account and the owner's pay account and the subcontractor and materials account first. And then a much, much less amount of money goes into your expenses account. And that's the only amount of money you've got to pay the bills and run your business with, pay wages and all of that sort of stuff. And so we never ever get into this problem where we look at that amount of money in if you've only got the one bank account and you think I've got a lot of money in there, and it gives you a false sense of bravado and confidence. So you will buy something. You will add another person to the team. You will add another subscription to the monthly subscriptions. You'll get another lease on a car or whatever it is. Whereas if all that money's taken out, most of the time you look in your expenses account and you go, holy snap and duck shit, how am I going to pay for everything? And it changes your mentality, changes your emotional decision making. So if you don't do what I just said, there is a much greater chance that you will make poor financial decisions. We quite often talk about a thing called a daily direction meeting, another one called a weekly team meeting, another one called a monthly one-on-one. They're all very different. They all have very different purposes and very different agendas. But when you implement them, the daily direction meeting keeps people very focused. It gives them an opportunity to contribute feedback as to how things are going with new ideas to improve our systems, our processes, our teamwork, our communication. The weekly team meeting creates an opportunity for people to put things on the table that give them the shits or bore them or what have you, frustrate them. And it's a safe place where we can put those things on the table and come up with a whole bunch of ideas that we can test day by day using our daily direction meeting. And it's a brilliant meeting to have. And then, of course, there's the monthly one-on-ones. They get information and you're able to have conversations about topics and so forth with an individual that you don't really get in a group environment. So there are those three things. And when you don't put those things in practice, if you choose not to do those things, you do end up with a string of massive problems with communication, with morale, with systems falling over, systems not being adhered to, all of that sort of stuff. So you end up with a whole bunch of problems. Now you're looking for solutions to find. If you had implemented these behaviors in the first place, say profit first and these meetings, just to name a couple, that would get rid of a whole lot of problems that are stealing your time, your effort and your focus. So they're just a couple of examples of what I've been talking about in relation to let's look and see what errors are consistently happening in the business and just invest our time one by one to fix those. And by doing that, it will get rid of a whole bunch of problems that we're pulling our hair out trying to find solutions for. So hope that makes sense. Hope that sort of ties into what I was talking about on day 6 yesterday. And as I say with all of these videos, if this is making sense, I'd love you to reach out, make some comments, connect on LinkedIn and send us a message. And I'd love to have a chat with you and see what your thoughts are on these ideas. If you've got any ideas to contribute that I could put in this 90-day challenge, that would be wicked too. So reach out to me on Facebook. Love to have the opportunity to have a chat and shoot the breeze and talk about these ideas in greater detail if it's something that you vibe with. Look forward to talking with you. See you next time. Bye for now.